Hey everyone, Dave here. This is the Zodiac Killer's famous unsolved 340-character cipher. In 1986, Robert Graysmith published his blockbuster true crime book about the Zodiac Killer case. In this book, Graysmith claims that he solved this cipher. But did he really solve it? Let's take a closer look. Robert Graysmith was a political cartoonist for the San Francisco Chronicle newspaper back in the 1960s and 70s. In 1986, when the Zodiac Killer case had gone cold for many years, Graysmith published his book, Zodiac, starting a new phase of his life as an author of true crime books. His book was filled with new and fascinating details about the case, and lots of information about his prime suspect. The book was a huge hit and sold over 4 million copies since it was released. In 2007, his book was adapted into the movie Zodiac, directed by David Fincher, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as Robert Graysmith. A scene from the movie shows Graysmith solving the unsolved 340-character cipher.
What's this?
In the decades since the Zodiac's last cipher was received, every federal agency has taken a crack at decoding it. But today, where those agencies had failed, a cartoonist has succeeded. How did you do it?
Just a lot of books from the library.
This was based on a chapter in Graysmith's book where he talks about how he solved the cipher during a 6-month period in 1979. So let's rewind a little bit. 10 years earlier, in 1969, Donald and Betty Hardin solved Zodiac's first cipher. They figured out the substitution key for the cipher. The message they unlocked is a real message from the killer, and it was confirmed by the authorities. Here's a quick example of how the key works. The key has the letters of the alphabet. To decode the message, you go through the cipher and replace each symbol with its related letter. For example, the first symbol is a triangle. The key says this is the letter I. So we replace the triangle with an I. The second symbol is this half-filled square. The key says that this is the letter L. So let's replace the square with an L. Now we do this for the rest of the symbols in the cipher. And finally, we get the fully decoded message, which starts with, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." Now, 3 months after Zodiac sent this cipher, he sent his famous unsolved 340-character cipher. 10 years later, in 1979, Graysmith came up with a solution for it. It wasn't shown in the movie, but here's the solution from his book. Herb Cain. I give them hell, too. Blast these lies. Sleuth should see a name below killer's film. A pills game. The full message sort of makes sense, but the writing style is very strange. It is like fragments instead of full sentences. So, how did Graysmith come up with this message? The Hardins only applied one step to get a message from the first cipher. They used a substitution key. Graysmith got a message from the second cipher using 2 steps. The first step was a substitution key, and the second step was transposition, and that just means he moved letters around. The book doesn't explain how he moved the letters around, but the FBI files are available, and as it turns out, the FBI did an investigation into an earlier version of Graysmith's solution. An FBI memo from February 15, 1979, says Graysmith called Roy McKinnon, the special agent in charge at the FBI field office in San Francisco. Graysmith told him he thought he solved the cipher. He submitted his worksheets and asked for a confirmation of his findings. Graysmith's worksheets are in the files. You can find his substitution key there, and his decodings too. Here's what he did. This is his substitution key. He saw the word her at the start of the cipher and thought Zodiac might be referring to Herb Cain, a famous writer for the San Francisco Chronicle. So Graysmith keeps the word her in his substitution. Now let's apply his substitution key to the rest of the cipher. Notice that he ignores the dot and slash symbols. Okay, now we have his full message. But it doesn't make any sense except for these fragments. Her, I give them hell too, see a name, pills, these fools, and either. To fix this, Graysmith applies a second step. He moves letters around to make words. Let's see how he did this. I'll use these Scrabble tiles to demonstrate. Here are the first 3 lines of the message he found. Some words are already there, like her and I give them hell too. But the rest doesn't make sense. So he moves some letters around like this. The H doesn't quite fit, so he throws it away. Then to finish this word, he adds an E to spell some. So now it says, Herb Cain, I give them hell too. To deed hell is a clue, he the sum. There's no real pattern to the way he moved the letters around. He just moved whichever letters were needed to make real words appear. Let's look at another example in his decoding. Here is another line. This one doesn't have any recognizable words in it. Here's how Graysmith moved letters around to force it to make sense. Now it says parole me cops met, but T and NG still don't make sense. So we added a D for paroled, an O for two, and just threw away the N and G. So now it says paroled me cops met too. This result makes a little more sense than how it looked at the beginning, but there's a problem. First, let's put these letters back to the way they were. As it turns out, there are other ways to move these letters around to find messages that make sense. Here's one. Okay, now it says, me men go splatter cop, using all of those same letters. But that's not the only possibility. You can also get pros get a compliment, or temp to mangle corpse, complete pong master, go contemplate sperm, got replacement mops. All of those examples perfectly use up those 18 letters and just move them around like Graysmith did. But that is just a small sample. If you use the Internet Anagram server, you'll find about 140,000 more. It's pretty incredible you can find so many words and phrases from just these 18 letters. It's because, if you do the math, there are almost 67 trillion different ways to rearrange the letters. That pretty much guarantees that thousands of words will appear out of nowhere. Therefore, there's no way for Graysmith to know for sure which words are the correct ones, because they can't all be eliminated as possibilities. And he moved letters around on all 20 lines of the message. So every line will have thousands of possible messages. Okay, so Graysmith sent all this to the FBI, but what did they think about it? In the FBI's files for the Zodiac case, we can find their analysis. Here's what they concluded on March 19, 1979. Not a valid decryption. Failure to yield a unique solution. The letters could be reassembled in myriad ways, some of which could be actual words. The solution has been forced. Any random selection of words could be arranged to be as logical as those in the proposed poetic solution. Sense of rightness is completely absent in the proposed solution. So the FBI concluded that the solution wasn't right because his method of decoding the cipher can actually make more than one message. But, on the other hand, what if Zodiac really did create his cipher like this, where you have to apply a key and then randomly move letters around? Well, you still wouldn't be able to eliminate all the possibilities because the real solution would be hidden among all the many thousands of others. But if Zodiac had a system or pattern of moving the letters around, there would be fewer possibilities, and a unique solution could be found and verified. For example, he could have used something like columnar transposition, where you write the message in columns before substituting letters with cipher symbols. Here's a simple example. This message doesn't make sense yet, but if you arrange the letters in columns like this, the message reveals itself. Transposition is so much fun. This idea doesn't seem much different than what Graysmith did. It just uses a pattern of movements, instead of being completely random and arbitrary. So back to Graysmith's story. What happened next? I have to assume Graysmith eventually learned that the FBI concluded his solution was not valid. But he didn't let that stop him. He kept working on his solution for 6 more months in 1979, then eventually published it in his book. The one in his book is different from the one he sent to the FBI, but they have a lot of similarities. Herb Cain, I give them hell too, is in both. See a name below, killer's game, pills, these fools, I eat a pill, slaves because, Toski the pig. I think he probably kept trying to refine his solution, but he still used the same flawed approach. Despite this, he says his solution was confirmed by various cryptography experts from the American Cryptogram Association. Graysmith claims ACA member Greg Mellon said, "Congratulations, you've broken the code." He also claims Eugene Waltz said, "Your solution is good and valid. You are to be congratulated for breaking the cipher." I can't find any confirmation of these claims outside of the book. I've spoken with other ACA members and they can't either. So I have a very hard time believing Graysmith. I bet ACA members today would also have a very hard time saying his solution is valid. So, unfortunately, that's why Graysmith did not close the book on the unsolved 340-character cipher. He's not the only one who's gone down this path. A lot of people will take this cipher, apply a substitution key to it, and then to make words appear, they'll randomly move letters around until a message pops out. Then they'll send their solutions to the authorities, and then never hear back. I hope this video helps explain why. Graysmith's solution doesn't check out, but he may be onto something with the idea of transposition. It could explain why this cipher has not been solved for so many years. Maybe there's some step missing that we haven't discovered yet. So if you're one of the many people trying to solve this cipher yourself, please don't be discouraged. Keep trying new ideas. We don't know very much about this cipher, and it could be that you might discover something new about it that no one else has. So thanks for watching the first episode of Let's Crack Zodiac. Leave your questions and comments below. I'd also love to hear if you have any ideas for future episodes. And if you have any solutions you would like me to review, I'd be happy to take a look. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, bye-bye.